you guys? Welcome back to Lily Reads. In November, I was a reading machine. I was reading about a book every 2 days. Every now and then, I just get this thirst to read. Like, I'm just like, I can take on any book. I can take on any book. And that was November. And I am happy for it because I got a lot of winners in November. Did I get some duds? Yes, we will talk about the duds. But I read a lot of books in November, and I want to talk to you guys about it because so many books I do recommend, and I think more people should be picking up. Let's start with one of my favorite books of the month, which is Family Lore by Elizabeth Escovedo. In this book, we are following a Dominican family, and they all have these magical abilities. All the women in this family have these magical abilities. Well, our main character in this book, she is an anthropologist, and she is trying to write down all the stuff about her family, all the stuff about her aunties and all that stuff. Well, one of the aunties decides she's going to have a living wake. She is basically going to throw a funeral for herself, even though she is not dead. And that kind of starts everyone telling their story about how they were brought up in this family and what has happened in this family. I think this book is brilliant. I cannot believe so many people did not resonate with this book this year, but I kind of can believe it because people have bad taste. This book is 5 out of 5 stars. This book is so thoughtful, and maybe it's because I am someone who grew up in a family of women. What this book has to say about womanhood, about how we all relate to one another in a family of women, being aunties, mothers, daughters. I loved it. And then also it does my favorite thing where you just follow these people in time and you see how like one decision affects another decision and how certain characters are the way they are because the way other characters treated them. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. Elizabeth Escovedo, you have done it again. The next book I want to discuss with you guys is What She Missed. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. In this book, we are following a girl in high school named Ebony. She has moved away from her city because both of her parents have lost their jobs and they are going to move back home where her grandma used to live. But this has caused our main character to really like go into herself and really like question everything around her and her selfhood. She has a boy who she used to be friends with, who they used to always reconnect when she used to come to this town for the summer, and she's kind of like met back up with him, but because of everything she's going through, she falls into the wrong crowd and she starts to spiral out of control. I thought this book was really well done. At first, I was not on board with it. I thought this book was weird, but the more that I read this book, I understood this book, and I think for a young adult book, I think it's really important to have young adult books like this about Black girls coming of age and trying to deal with everything that is put on your shoulders as a Black girl. 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that we have is Bandit Queens. In this book, we have been dropped into a town in India, and we are following a character who they think is like the next kind of bandit queen because rumor has it she killed her husband. One day her husband just did not show up again. Well, she is in this loan group because in this Indian village, they have these loan people who give out loans, but you have to get the loan in a group and they're only given to women. So these women form these loan groups. And one of the women in her loan group is like, so I heard you killed your husband. Can you help me kill mine? And that's what starts this story. This story is about women being liberated, women finding their joy, women finding their power. And I thought it was brilliant. This book has so many different tone shifts and it's all done so well. My biggest thing when reading a book is finesse. I love when someone is juggling a lot of balls and they're doing it seamlessly. And that's what this book did. This book is able to be thoughtful when it talks about sexual assault and violence against women, but it's also able to be funny and it has this like cozy mystery element. It's a little ridiculous at times. 5 out of 5 stars. I see exactly why this book got so much hype by critics because I think it's so well done. The next book that we have that I did not talk about in a video or nothing It's The Christy Affair. This is one of those books that I saw a lot of places, but baby didn't see nobody actually read. This is a Reese Witherspoon book club pick, and I usually don't say that about books that are in book clubs, but I am going to say it about this because me and Reese will never see eye to eye. I never like Reese Witherspoon book club picks, and yet I keep picking them up. Once again, we have another Reese Witherspoon book that I did not enjoy. So in this book, we are following a woman who knew Agatha Christie, and she is sleeping with Agatha Christie's husband. And she is telling us this story about why she took Agatha Christie's husband and what happened. In this book, Agatha Christie goes missing for 11 days, and she's going to tell us what happened in those 11 days that Agatha Christie went missing. I don't know if this book is like, of course it's fiction, of course, but like, I don't know. I don't know what this book is trying to be, like what it is. I don't know, but I know it's boring. What I do know about this book is that this book is really, really boring. And also I find this book to be really, really ridiculous. The reason why I never like Reese Witherspoon books, it's like something about them just feel very Lifetime movie without any of the fun that you usually get from a Lifetime movie. They're always just drawn out and long, and they always are supposed to teach you this big lesson about life and about family and about love, and then you get to the end and you're like, I could have not read this book and still had the same outlook on life, but this book thinks that it's teaching me so much about life, and I'm so affected by what happened. This book gets 2 out of 5 stars. I thought this book was so boring. And that's the worst thing you can be in my eyes. The next book that we have is Chain Gang Allstars. We have been thrown into this fictional world where people, instead of serving out their long prison sentences, they can join the Chain Gang Allstars and they can fight to the death. And if you make it through all these different challenges, you might be able to get your freedom. And that is what this book is about. It is about people in the prison industrial complex fighting to the death to see, will you be able to earn your freedom? Okay. Lead with love. I appreciate this book. I appreciate the message of this book. I appreciate what this book is trying to be. I appreciate what this book is trying to do. I agree with the message. And I also think this book is a big feat. It is a big undertaking. I think it's a brilliant idea. All of that. When it comes to my enjoyment of this book, I did not greatly enjoy this book. This was not a positive reading experience for me because at the end of the day, I want something that really grips me. Because this is a fictional work, I want to be gripped by it. I want to be excited about the story. And the way that this story is told, I was not excited about. This book is told from different POVs. Everyone has their own story. Sometimes the POVs overlap. So you're following someone who watches this, because this is like the Hunger Games. You can watch the people fight to the death. So you're following that person. You're following someone who's an activist who wants the fighting to stop. You're following people inside the prison. All of this stuff. And it was just really hard for me to care about a single character. I was not pulled in by a single character. I was not pulled in by the story. Towards the end, I was more into it. I was like, okay, I'm back. But it didn't take away from the whole reading experience that I really wasn't feeling it. So I do give this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. Just was not for me. It was just not for me, and I think that's okay. I think that's okay. It was still, I think, an enjoyable read, and it's a read I think a lot of people could pick up because a lot of people did enjoy it. So, who am I? Leave the World Behind. Leave the World Behind is a movie on Netflix now, and I'm curious. The main character in this book is like 50. The black woman is 50 years old in this book, but I see the movie trailer and she young in the movie. It's were there changes made? Tell me down below, family. What's going on with that? That's really curious to me because the character in this book, Ruth, is my favorite character in this book. And I thought it was really interesting to have a character of her age on the page and get into her mind because we don't really get characters like that in these types of books. And so for her to be aged down in the movie, it's curious to me. I don't know, but you tell me how the movie goes because it kind of has turned me off the movie a little bit because I love Ruth so much in this book. So in this book, we are living through this apocalypse. There's this white family. They are going on vacation and they rent out this house. And so they're at the house. They're having fun. It's vacation. And then this black couple comes a knocking on the door and it's like, this is our house. We rented it out to y'all, but there's an apocalypse going on and we kind of need to stay here. Will y'all let us stay in our house? You kind of don't have an option because it's our house, but like, Y'all cool? And they say, yeah, we cool. And so we have these people trying to live out this apocalypse and see what's going on. Boy, did I like this book. Oh, the more I read this book, the more I enjoyed this book. And then the last part of this book, to me, is so thoughtfully done, and what it says about human beings and society. Oh, I love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. The more I think about it, the more I like it even more. Let's get into a shorter one, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. We have a short story collection. This book is about different people who go to church, different people down south. I don't even know if it has to be down south, but The Secret Lives of Church Ladies is a short story collection, and you're reading about a bunch of black people who go to church. This is brilliant. This is 5 out of 5 stars. Brilliant. Peach Cobbler, read Peach Cobbler. Read Peach Cobbler. I love books that are able to just hit a truth about blackness that is not over the top. It's just because I knew you grew up around black people, you understand black people, and you appreciate black people. And so you're able to write stories about black people that are so thoughtful and intentional and just hit on this thing you kind of got to be black to get. That's what this book does. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. I will read anything that this author puts out. Loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that we have is a book that I did not talk to you guys about. Rain. I finished the American Royals series. Who would have thought? There's 4 books in this series, so there is absolutely no reason for me to tell you what the 4th book is about. But in this book series, you are following this alternate universe where instead of having presidents, America has royalty. So George Washington would be like our first king, and we are following his bloodline and what they get up to. I really enjoy this series. The series is a lot of fun. This book was a wrap-up book. This is the last book in the series. There will be no more. And it was a good wrap-up book. Overall, I will rank the entire series a 4 out of 5 star series. This book was a good wrap-up. I was okay how everyone turned out. It was fine. It was good. I only read it kind of to finish the series. I wasn't expecting big highs and big lows. I was expecting things to wrap up. Things wrapped up. I was good with where everybody ended. And you know what? A series, I had fun. The next book that I totally forgot I read up until this very moment is Fat Chance Charlie Vega. In this book, we are following a character named Charlie Vega who kind of always felt like she was in her best friend's shadow. Her best friend gets asked out by all the boys. Everyone thinks she's so cute, but our main character, Charlie Vega, feels like she's an outsider because she's fat. She thinks boys do not like her. Well, one day she gets asked to the dance by this boy that she has always had a crush on, but things go wrong when she realized she might not have been asked out for the right reasons, and that starts this book. This book was really, really good. 5 out of 5 stars. This book had really interesting things to say about mother-daughter relationships, what we project onto our children, and kind of about your own happiness, you being in charge of your own happiness. And I think if this book is geared towards young adult people, which is, I think this is just a really important book to read about selfhood and like learning your self-worth and being okay with your journey. 5 out of 5 stars. Why am I saying so many 5 out of 5 stars? I didn't realize I really like the books like I like the books. Anyways, Chlorine. In this book, we have this girl who is on the swim team who thinks that she is a mermaid. She thinks that she is a mermaid and she was destined to live with all the rest of the mermaids. 5 out of 5 star book. This book is about reclaiming your body. It's about reclaiming yourself and being in control of yourself. And it's about all of the abuse and tragedy that young girls go through just because they were born. They were just born. Just because they were born, you go through so much trauma. And I thought it was so good. I thought it was so good. I thought this is, of all the books that I read this month, I think this is the most inspired book. This book is just so well done. Well, Secret Lives of Church Ladies is really inspired too to me. But this book is so good. 5 out of 5 stars. And I do think it should have been in the horror category for Goodreads. But Goodreads don't give a shit about shit. Natural Beauty. Natural Beauty is about this world in which everyone is obsessed with beauty and beauty standards. So one day we meet this character. She used to be a pianist, but she stopped doing that because of things. We go back in time to figure out why she stopped doing that. But she gets offered a job at this beauty place and she takes the job. She takes the job and all of a sudden things start going weirdly. She starts getting these beauty treatments and everything around her gets really, really weird. And so she's trying to get to the root of all the weirdness and things happen. This book was just not for me. I think this book is well done. And I think this book has its audience. I'm not that audience. 3.5. Usually when I think a book is well done, but I'm not the audience for it, so I didn't enjoy it as much as I could, I usually give 3.5. And that is Natural Beauty. 3.5. Let's move on to 3 books that I read in the same video. We'll go really quickly. Community Board. This is about this girl who gets broken up with by her husband, and she goes to move back in with her parents and realize her parents don't even live in that house anymore. They moved and didn't even tell her ass, and she realized she has dependency issues. And so she's like, I'm not even going to talk to my parents anymore. I'm going to figure this out myself. So she stays locked in the house for like months, and she gets into this community board, the community board in her town, and she starts learning more about her town and society and herself and anxiety and all this stuff. This book isn't good. I'm sorry. This book isn't good. 2 out of 5 stars. Was not for me. Do you see I'm tired? I'm losing steam. I'm losing steam. The thing is, we only been here 15 minutes, but I'm losing steam, child. I read so many books. Speaking of so many books, the book club pick, our last book club pick of the year was in November. Play to Win. In this book, we are following a character named Miriam. She wins the lottery. She wins the lottery. $250 million is all hers. But one issue here. She's married, and she hasn't seen her husband in 8 years. Her financial advisor goes, girl, before you claim that money, you need to get a divorce, give your husband a settlement so he don't come trying to take half your money. And she's like, bet. But she ain't seen the man in 8 years. She gets in contact with his sister. The sister gets in contact with the man, and he comes back. But he comes back, and it's like, girl, I don't want a divorce. I want to be with you. I want to be with you. And so that starts our romance book. No, I give this book 2.5 stars. No. This man abandoned you for 8 years, and now he wants to come back and be in your life after he's 30-something years old, ain't got no job, ain't got no money, ain't got no nothing. Now he want to come back to you. Of course he do. He ain't got nothing else going on. No, I do not like the basis in which this book is built on. No. 2.5 out of 5 stars on that one. The next thing we have is Trespasses. In this book, we are following a woman who is in Ireland, and this is during the Troubles, and basically she is dealing with all the violence going on around her. She gravitates towards this boy who is in her class because she is a school teacher, and then she works part-time at her family's bar. And through starting a relationship with this young boy, you learn more about the violence in this community. Oh, did I tell you she also starts an affair? She starts an affair with a married guy at the bar. And all of these things do kind of come together to tell this story about what's going on in Ireland during this time, what's going on with the Troubles, what's going on religiously, politically, and all of that. This book is well done, except for the fact it don't have quotation marks. Community Board in this book both don't have quotation marks, and it makes me sick. I hate reading books that don't have quotation marks. This don't got no quotation marks, but I think this book is so well done. I think this book is one of those books that, like, it's not trying to do a lot. It's really not. Oftentimes you read literary fiction and the book is trying to do a lot. It's trying to be clever. It's trying to hit you on the head. It's trying to, dupe you, bait and switch you. This book is exactly what meets the eye. Everything that's on the page is exactly what this book intends to be. But in doing that, it tells such a real story, I felt like I was in Ireland. I felt like I was on the ground. I knew these people. And believe it or not, the ending of this book made me cry. The ending of this book made me cry. Who would have fucking thunk? 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. The Rachel Incident. In this book, we are following a character named Rachel. She goes to school in Ireland. We're back in Ireland. She goes to school in Ireland, and she is attracted to her English professor, as many books go. She is attracted to her English professor. So she is working at a bookstore, and she meets this guy who works at the bookstore with her. They hit it off. They become friends, and she's like, can you help me kind of start dating my English professor? I know he has a wife, but keep in mind, his wife used to be his student. So, he likes students, clearly, and he'll like me. So that starts our book. They're trying to get the English professor to fall for her. They're friends. The Rachel Incident. This book is so much more than what I just said, but I don't want to spoil it for you because I think this is a book that you should just go in and you should read. This book perfectly sums up what being a young adult is. I don't know how it was able to do it, but this book felt like it knew me. It felt like this book knew me. The stuff that this book says about being a young person, what Rachel goes through, the dialogue she has in her head, it all just felt so real. 5 out of 5 stars. One of my favorite books of the year. Boy, did I enjoy this book. I honestly wish I could read it again for the first time. I enjoyed the Rachel incident. Now we have 3 books I did not tell you guys anything about. The Favor. In this book, we start this book off following this woman. This woman is stalking this other woman. And basically, she sees that this woman might be getting abused by her husband. So one day, she sees that this woman is getting abused by her husband. So she kills him. So she just shoots him dead. And that starts our story. That starts our story about these 2 ladies who are going through really traumatic things in their life and them doing a favor for one another. I enjoyed this book. I enjoyed what this one. I'm a sucker. Maybe it's the feminist in me. I am a sucker for a story about women coming together and leaning on one another in hard times. And that's what this book was. 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this book. The Maid. This is going to be a movie. I think Florence Pugh is going to be the main character of this movie, if I remember correctly. In this book, we are following a maid who works at a hotel, and one day she is going to clean up a room, and she sees that the man who usually stays in this room is dead. Who did it? Who done it? Did she do it? Did someone she knows do it? What's going on? Read this book to find out. This book was fine. 3.5 stars, I guess. I haven't even thought about what I would give this book. 3.5 stars. I liked the beginning more than I liked the end. The end kind of got a little bit like, okay. Like, I think the end got very, like, what you expect from this type of book. I don't know. I never really loved these types of books anyways. So, you know what? 3 out of 5 stars. I'm fine with it. I don't hate it. A book that I hope I can remember stuff about. The Other Woman. Do I own The Other Woman? I thought, so the book I'm telling you about is The Guilt Trip by Sandy. The Other Woman. It says that this author was in Reese Witherspoon's book club pick because she wrote The Other Woman. I think I own The Other Woman. Is it The Other Woman, a book with a wedding dress on the cover or something like that? Yup, hold up. It's so crazy. People talk about how I got a lot of books, but I remember every book that I got. I haven't read this book, but I remember every single book that I got. Like, sometimes I'll see a book and I'm like, I got that book. And yep, yes, I do have this book. Maybe I should read this month just to get it done with. I don't know. I'll sit it out just to see the mood. But The Other Women, The Guilt Trip is about a bunch of friends who all get together because there is a wedding. But something is going on because people have secrets and people have lies. I know exactly how this book ends. I know exactly who's lying, and I know how they get caught lying and what happens in the end of the lie. But for some reason, I don't know what the buildup is. What's the buildup? Yeah, that's exactly what happens. So you got 3 sets of friends. And then one of the friends is getting married. And so there's a new person coming in, the wife. And they all go on a trip because they're getting married. And things happen. Lies get uncovered. And stuff happens. This book is like... What is this book like? The lead up to this book, I like that girl. You ever seen that meme where she puts the chips on top of her head or something? And she's like, oh, she's so silly. You're so silly. This book is fine. It's not that interesting. At times it is though, because it has a trope that I really, really like. I love when like 2 specific characters are keeping a secret and like you don't know that they keeping a secret, then you find out that they've both been keeping a secret and lying to us. Maybe I spoiled the book, but you don't know who keeping what secret. So there was moments that I thought were clever about this book, but altogether this book was kind of long and kind of boring, I guess. So I'm going to give it 3 stars because I can't even remember anything about it that offended me. I DNF'd some books this month. I DNF'd the Something House Guest. Whatever this book is I'm putting up here, I DNF'd it. Not because it was bad, I just couldn't get into it. Next book, Love in the Time of Serial Killers. I did DNF this book because I was not vibing with it. This was just real, like, white feminist, like, I couldn't do it, sorry. I also DNF'd Jane Harper, The Survivor. I read a Jane Harper book last month that I really didn't tell you guys much about. What was it called? Oh, The Dry. I read The Dry last month, and I enjoyed The Dry, but Jane Harper has a way of writing books where they are insanely boring. They are insanely boring. And, like, the build-up is usually worth it, but boy, do you got to get through a bunch of build-up. And in The Survivor, I was at, like, 30%, and I had to let it go. I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, this is long. So I let it go. Did I DNF anything else this month? No, I just DNF'd those 3 books. The other house guest, or the new house guest to see this book, I am going to get back to. The Survivor, I think I might get back to one day too. Love in the Time of Serial Killers, no, I will not be. But overall, let me show you the books. These are books. This is what we read. I'm not going to try to hold them up. Yeah, that's the wrap up. So the next time you guys will see me is when I have all of my books off the bookshelf. And I'm talking to you guys about what I read all year. I know we're at that point. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.